talk about error tracking in Angular with Sentry. So, any of you have heard of Sentry? Yes, I forgot mine. Hello? Yeah. Awesome. Any of you have heard of Sentry? No. Awesome. Okay, so let's get to the next slide. Okay, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Nilesh Angular and I'm a senior software engineer at a company called Platformer. You probably might not have heard of it. It's an Australian company. And you can reach me at these social media links if you have any questions or anything. So, without further ado, let's start. So, what's the importance of error tracking? Okay, let's start the scenario. First of all, show of hands on the people who are undergrads here. Alright, awesome. So, this is for you guys. So, when you are working in a company, usually in a project, the tasks are grouped into 4 parts, or more than 4 parts. But in a basic company, in a basic project, there's a UI/UX team, there's a front-end team, then there's a server-side or back-end team, and there's a DevOps team, and finally, there's a QA team. So this QA, you have noticed that it's in blue color because it's very important. Yeah, I know. Yeah, most companies executing sucks, yeah. But the QA guy is actually responsible. Like when you are shipping your application into production, they are the guys who are responsible to actually make your application as less as bugs as possible in the application, so that in the production your end users are satisfied and less bugs are there in production, as I said earlier. So imagine this, you are in the front-end team. I'm hoping all of you are Angular developers or front-end engineers. So you are developing a feature X, alright? And then at the end of the sprint, you finish your feature and you put into QA. And then you go home and then you are getting calls. All of a sudden you are getting calls from a QA guy saying this feature is not working, this is breaking the previous build, etc. etc. So what are your responses going to be? The first response is going to be refresh the browser. Right? They have to say clear the cache. That's also not working. You have to say log out and log in again. That's also not working. You have to say try incognito mode. That's also not working. Then you are going to blame it on the backend guy. You are going to say, okay, there's a data mismatch error or an API issue. It's not my fault, it's the backend guy's fault. Yeah? That's what I do myself. But the backend guys are cunning. They are cunning, and what they do is they are lazy also. So what they are saying is, the error occurs in front end. So it could be an issue on my end, but because it occurs on the front end, you should check it first and let me know if I have to fix something. So in the end, you have to actually debug the issue. So that's what happens, right? Alright. So now what you are going to do? You are going to open your laptop and then you are going to start your application developer mode and you are going to try to replicate the issue. But unfortunately, it works on your bloody machine. It works on your machine. What are you going to do? You are going to tell the QA guy that it works on your machine, and in order to actually debug the issue, you need the stack trace. You have either the QA guy would actually mail you the stack trace, or you have to go near him and open his laptop and see how the error happens or something. But you need the stack trace to actually figure out what has gone wrong in the application. Then probably there's an null point exception or something, and or some backend error. However, this is how you debug an application in front end. So this is the thing. So the QA guys, with the deadlines we have and the complex applications we have, complexity of the application, they cannot actually QA everything. Alright? There's always a bug in production. This is valid for almost every application. So then what happens next? Like for an example, especially with front end, you cannot actually control the environment where the application is run. because it's at the end user side. You cannot actually replicate. Some might be running it in Ubuntu, some might be running it on Internet Explorer. You cannot actually control that. So there's no way you could actually test the entire application for all of the environments that would be there for the end users. So exceptions may occur on the production application due to these reasons. Actual developer mistakes, or slow internet connection, browser add-ons like spams, and there are stuff that works here, doesn't work with Angular. So outdated browsers, outdated operating systems, and hardware issues. You know, for all you know, your customers would be running a computer like what Chandler had on Friends. Alright? So your application is bound to fail. There's no way you can actually win from that. So this is a problem. So imagine two scenarios. The first scenario is the application is a service which is provided for customers for free. So the end user actually logs into your application, encounters an issue. He's just gonna, quit your application and move to another provider because your application crashes. The second scenario, your application is a paid application, and because of that, the customer, when the end user encounters the issue, he's basically going to call the support team and going to tell you that there's an error. Alright? In both these scenarios, in the first scenario, you don't even know that you have an error in the application because obviously you don't know. And in the second scenario, you know that there's an error, but there's only so many, you can't actually debug it. I mean, if it works on your machine, how can you actually debug it? Yeah, I mean, you can't ask a customer for the stack trace, yeah? How do you do that? So this is the problem. You should be able to know when an error occurs on the application, and you need some information in order to debug that application. The solution for this is error tracking tools. So there are a few out there. First one is Sentry, which I'm going to discuss with you guys. It works out of the box with Angular. And the second one is Stack Driver, which I use heavily with my server-side applications and Kubernetes deployments and everything. So the rest of the stuff I just Google and coordinate it from this And okay, so Sentry with Angular. So let's actually discuss why you should use Sentry.io with Angular. So first of all, the problems that I mentioned earlier, it solves almost every one of them. It allows you to find out exceptions right away. You get an email, you get notifications here and there. You know that when an error is occurring. And because of that, it obviously allows you to quickly fix up production issues. And another thing that it allows you to do is, it actually allows you to create releases. So that you have 1.0.0 application version, and then there's an error with it, and then you deploy 1.0.1 version of it. But front-end in the Chrome or whatever the browsers that end users use is crashed, yeah. So even though you release 1.0.1, in most cases the browser would be running the 1.0.0 version in most cases. So Sentry is smart enough to understand this, and if the same issue occurs and to identify that it has been actually fixed in the 1.0.1 release, it will automatically update the application. So the third one is interact with users and get their feedback. When an error occurs, sometimes stack trace is not enough. Sometimes you want to know more. So rather than waiting for the customer to end user to actually call your support team and tell you what went wrong, Sentry provides an easier way. It provides a dialog that when an error occurs, so that the customer could actually write down what has happened and save it, so that it's all in one flow. It's a done deal, and you can file support team. So that's all. As I said, it allows you to get the stack trace, and it also allows you to track the user environment. So using Sentry, when an error is occurred, we know what OS is running, what browser is on, and the IP address, which zone he is in. Everything you can get using Sentry. And another one is that cool little feature is track user activity up to the exception point. So imagine this has happened in Angular. So imagine a scenario where you are in the home page and then you go to profile page and then you go to some other page and then you go back to home. In this chain of events, say there are some undestroyed observers or something. And because of this, when you go back to home again, there are some errors. This only happens when you go through that chain of events. So this guy is obviously not going to go through that chain of events and check every bloody thing. So because of that, Sentry actually, when an exception occurs, it actually gives you a log so that you know what user has been doing the moment he entered the application. So it will show you that he went to home first, he went to the profile first, profile second, and so on. You get the user activity. This as well leading up to the exception. So that will also help you guys how to actually track an error. Yeah, I have been talking about the stack trace a lot. So when you are deploying Angular, you are actually deploying with transpiled files, right? Minified files. So even if you get the stack trace, it's going to be useless, right? I mean, there are going to be some random variable names and stuff. You're not going to even understand. So what's the solution for this? Well, Sentry provides you an opportunity so that you could actually upload the source files, source maps. So that when you upload the source map to Sentry, when an error occurs, it will read the minified stack trace and it will use the map files and give you the correct stack trace that you want in order to actually debug the error that you have and fix it. So next one is, does it only support Angular? No, it does not. It supports almost everything. So you can see Ruby, you can see C#. It supports Laravel, PHP, Node, Goa, Angular. It supports a lot. So even if you are not an Angular developer, so a React developer or a server-side developer who came here for fun or something, you can use Sentry for your error tracking needs. So with that, yeah, this is the Sentry dashboard. So I'll be showing that in the demo. So I'll start the demo now. Here's an application that we form demo. I'll be integrating Sentry for this. So in order to do that, you have to go to Sentry.io and already logged in, you have to register. And what you can do is you can add a new project. So when you add a new project, you can select now you can do the Angular and after the same right? And then they are going to give an npm install, which I have already done in the project. And then they are given the system.js, but I guess all of you are using Angular CLR, right? And yeah, use Angular CLR. So all you have to do is what we are going to do is this is the custom error handler for Sentry. This also I'm going to call the error handler. What this does is this basically overrides the default error handler function in Angular. So that you know you can do this. So remember I talked about the custom feedback customer dialog. You can do that here. now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to environment and from the environment I'm going to
ready. I'm gonna add that version. So import all as version. This is not gonna work now. This is going to an error. Alright. So this is gonna throw an error. So does any of you guys know how to import a JSON file into TypeScript 2+? No one? Okay. So in order to fix this, you need to create a typings file. I'm going to do that now. Let's say typings. I'm going to say export. Declare. Star.json. There won't be an error. That should be happening. This is version is going to be version. This again is going to throw an error. So in order to fix this, we need to do this. So it's going to be alright, okay, and then I'm going to say this is EN is going to be dev. Okay. You are clear with this, right? You can see. Okay, and now we are going to go to your dot module, and then you're going to say here you're going to add a little parameter here. Here you're going to say environment is going to be environment.env, which is here, and we are going to say a release here saying source of environment dot. Release is going to be tunnel dash version. So alright, so this is basically it. So now I'm going to actually create an error here. Yeah, I'm going to in the reset button, I'm going to create an error in the reset function. I'm going to say throw new error. Sample error. Then let's start the application. Let's see. I'm going to press the reset button, and yeah, an error occurs, but yeah, what I expected didn't happen. That's because I forgot one line. You have to actually, although you created the error handler here, you have to tell an Angular module that to use this error handler instead of the default error handler class. So in order to do that, they have that here. So provide us. Now it should work. Now I'm gonna press reset and see it's gonna say it looks like we are having issues, and we can actually do some stuff here. I pressed reset. What the hell? Yeah, the last one. Something crashing one. See. If you reset this. Sometimes so meetup demo. So I go here, it's gonna say relevant config error. There's an issue here. So I go to this. You can actually see the user feedback. I press reset what the hell. And it's gonna say which browser I'm working on, browser name, environment is there, release is alpha 0.0.1, and everything is there. And you can see stack trace here, right? You would basically see stack trace. And yes, so this is basically it. So in addition to that, I was talking about how to upload the source files. Do we have time to upload the source files? Okay. Alright, so uploading the source file, first thing you need to do is you have to actually install Sentry CLI. So you have to go there, and I have already installed this. You have to install this and log in using the Sentry CLI. So if you notice, I have an email as well. Saying new feedback, and then my error is also here. Okay. Alright, so in order to do that, so I have already created a shell script, normal JS file. That this is that. So you can actually get this code from the GitHub. We will publish it in the meetup event. So I have required shell JS because I have some custom stuff to run here. The project ID is if I go here, my project ID is going to be meetup demo, which you can get from here. And the organization name, we have to create an organization called Sentry. It's that, and it's free, don't worry. It's free. So what you do is Sentry CLI release dash 0, then you have the organization ID, that's the project ID. Then you can say new, and here what you are going to do is you are going to create a new version. This is basically your version name. Version.tunnel and version.version. Alright, and the next one is Sentry CLI releases. This is where you upload your source map files, -o, organization ID, -p, project ID, files, and then you are going to give the version number, and then you are going to upload the source maps of the folder. This application is created in a way so that the project is inside this project there's a reactive demo, so that only the files are going to get saved. So this is what happens. This is the basic script. So in order to have this, first this is Angular 6. So in Angular 6 it's a bit different when you're adding environments and everything. So there's something called -c for configurations, as opposed to what y'all are used to have --env. It doesn't have in the Angular CLI 6. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to have this as dev, and I don't want any file replacements, and I'm going to say source map is true. That's it. And in the package.json, I'm going to check out. Alright. So in the package.json, I have a command called build-dev, which will do ng build-c development. It will do a development build using the configuration I just created. And then Sentry source maps would actually run the Sentry.js file, which would actually upload the source maps. And build::release would actually do the build dev and the Sentry source map. So that's what I'm going to do now. Run npm run. JSON, you can check out. Okay, sorry again. Let's see. The problem was in the initialization I created this as dev, but unfortunately here I have to just alright, hopefully this will work. It's gonna take a while. Alright, as you can see, it's actually adding the source map references. It's uploading the source maps, and it's gonna take a while depending on the internet connection. Alright, so as you can see, the minified scripts and source maps has been updated. So if you can check here on if you go to releases, you can see the alpha 0.0 release, and here you can see under artifacts you can actually see source maps. So that's how you upload source maps. And you know, when you get an error, this will automatically in the production the minified error would actually work with these map files and it will give you the correct error. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, thanks. If you have any questions, you can ask them. Yeah, all good? Thanks.
Well, thanks, Nilesh. Thank you very much. So this is the end of the meetup. I would like to share back into my hands. So yeah. So.